Pictures up. Roll cameras. And action.
You ready?
I'm ready.
At one point, we were going to start the movie off with a vault heist from a bank. And it kept evolving. And of course, there's always discussion about how are you going to do it? Like, we should just do it CG or whatever. And I was like, no. Let's just build what a vault would look like. And I said, let's just go out and just tow it around and see what happens.
But one of the things that came up when we first started is we said, look, you know, a real vault that comes out of a bank like that that's 8 feet wide and 10 feet long and 8 feet high has got to weigh, you know, probably close to 100,000 pounds. So it's gonna just evaporate things it hits.
I mean, we really had to dissect, break it down into a million different little shots because now you're toting this thing and people can really get hit and hurt.
The other thing that came into play was that it's hard to guide this thing. When cars come sweeping around the corner, the vault is a whiplash. It's the end of a bullwhip. And when it comes around, it really doesn't stop for anything. It knocks over parked cars and telephone poles and anything that gets in its way. That was a big issue because when you're in Puerto Rico, you can only destroy the things that you tell them you're going to hit.
What's going to happen is we're going to crash the vault through that bus stop behind you over there.
Not buildings and, you know, landmarks and things that they say. You really don't want to hit this power transformer that powers the entire city. So what we ended up doing is I built a steerable vault. We took a pickup truck, a heavy-duty pickup truck, and we sawed the entire back part of it off. So now it's a very short pickup truck. And we said, we're going to put a vault over the top of this thing. And we're going to put tiny little viewing holes on the front and tiny little viewing holes on the side. And then we're going to be able to drive it in places where it needs to steer through turns and not really hit anything. So this one that we made with the pickup truck, we stuck a guy inside of it, and we practiced with it.
That driving vault looked like a clown car, and it was just a guy driving the vault. We would loop around the freeways. The traffic would stop, and people would be staring at this vault just driving on its own. It's one of my favorite images.
The first thing in testing that we found out was that it's an oven, because we're in the middle of summer in Puerto Rico. And I know Henry Kinji, our guy that was inside it, he suffered a lot.
And you can see I'm sweating like a pig in this thing.
Henry, all right.
I tried to find a thermometer here for a house, but they don't sell them. So I got a meat thermometer. And I stuck the meat thermometer in there with me. And I ended up, and it was up at 135 the other day, so I was a fully cooked ham.
It was smoking. I was going to say stop, but it was the last shot, and I just had to get it.
Jack got some dry ice to put in there to try to keep the truck cool.
He kept passing out on us, so I went and ordered dry ice. And I put dry ice in burlap bags, and we set them all on top of the engine compartments.
This is it. This is my home away from home. My helmet, and also for air, there's this pumper that fits into the helmet to allow fresh air to come from outside to breathe. So there are quite a few things that have been done to make this workable. This is the hookup for the cool suit.
We put him in a cool suit, which is this vest that has cool water going through it and these lines that are all attached to it.
This is where they plug in, and that's that little ice chest back there has the ice and ice water in it.
And then I said, the vault takes us 15 minutes to get him in and out of it. Let's give him a toilet inside of it. So we actually took the passenger seat out and put in a portable toilet there and said, if you have to go, that's your only way out, because we're not spending 15 minutes getting you in and 15 minutes getting you out of it. It's just ridiculous.
This is the strangest thing I've ever driven. And I mean it.
To make this vault sequence actually work, we needed vaults that do different things. We've got a vault on the end of a semi-truck.
We had some that we would swing in by a crane that were just very massive and heavy.
As you can see, there's a vault underneath the crane. And this is our pendulum swinging wrecking ball vault.
The vault that went through the bank, the shape of the vault is square. It's not meant to roll.
Spikes ahead, Don. We got spikes. We're going right.
You had to get the vault up to a certain speed so it would tumble.
I'm building a special vault for this scene that has an axle running through the middle of it. A vault will be mounted on a carriage at a 45-degree angle for run-up. On action, the tow truck is going to tow the two ropes that are pulling it, and it'll get up to speed on a run-up track and finally crash through the windows, at which point we'll trip it and it'll start to tumble on its own.
Guys, I'm hearing all this chatter. Did you just take out a bank?
I had stunt people inside the bank building, and I said, on action, this huge thing is going to pull this tumbling vault through there. It's not going to stop for anything. And the entire bank building is going to be decimated. But I said, I want you all, the bodies in front of the camera. Well, when we yelled action and this thing started tumbling through here, it was like a battering ram. It came through, tumbling through, and there was glass everywhere and chunks of metal going everywhere. We had people running all the different directions. And you never know if a 10-foot piece of I-beam is going to tumble through and hit one of the stunt people. But I think it's an enormous event for us to be able to get through that with nobody getting hurt, because there were a lot of unknowns in that bank vault sequence. There were a lot of things that could have gone wrong, but we had luck on our side.
Another thing that was a challenge is the bridge sequence. There was so much going on this bridge. I mean, you had 14 cars, I think, head on with this vault. Either being crushed, destroyed, flipped, knocked in the air, knocked off the bridge, falling 30 feet into the water below, 2 cars at the same time. I mean, cars being decapitated.
We thought about the roof sharing only because I had done that a few other times with Spiro, and we knew that a cable strung at that tensile strength, if you tried to get underneath it, it's going to go across the hood, and it's going to cut through the roof like butter. And Doc Charbonneau, who was going to do this, he's one of our shorter stuntmen. And I said, you know, that's where the cable's coming through. You have to be over before that, or you're losing your head. What's your primary concern? Get down!
Ready, and action!
When you see the cameras, he literally lays over a millisecond before the cable comes through and shears the roof off. Now, we had cables attached to the roof of the car that pull the roof of the car off and get it away from him. But those cables are also life-threatening as well, because anytime they snag on anything, they're going to take flesh and bone and everything with it. So that was a tough one for us, because when you put a real human in there, it's life-threatening. But we did 3 takes of that, and he was great in all 3 of them.
We really broke our budget on this one with the cars. There's a point where I've just said, please don't tell me anymore. I don't want to know. It's too much. Please don't destroy any more cars. But I'm so proud of that sequence. The vault heist at the end of the movie, it's like nothing I've ever seen.